Hi, David. Just our second lot of podcasts. Thanks for having me again, talking to you on another afternoon. So today, what we're going to talk about is I've received a lot of questions about what this survey that we've actually constructed together that was published in the Medical Republic and in the article that I've co-authored with yourself and Julian Burnside. So can you just give us a bit of a context of what these two different surveys are about and what are we trying to actually get out of it?
Okay. Well, thanks for that, Anchita. As you know, I'm a chartered accountant, but also a practice management consultant. I've been operating in the healthcare industry for the last 27 years. And I guess the purpose of the survey was a lot of times when I went into clinics and I'd speak to doctors and say, well, how come you don't bill, let's say, an item C instead of an item B? You know, you've got geriatric patients, you take longer. There was always a concern that they might be, be identified by Medicare and be forced to pay it back, which I thought was quite unusual. I mean, accountants and lawyers charge for time, and that's legitimate. Why was there so much fear and anxiety? And I started to question whether this was actually causing practitioners to maybe withhold services that were legitimately needed by patients. So the purpose of the first survey was really trying to find out about the complexity of the Medicare benefits schedule and whether practitioners and practice managers and practice staff found it easy to obtain information that would make them, Medicare audit proof, so they felt safe in actually billing those item numbers and not basically finding themselves in a situation that income would get clawed back over the last 4 years. And I guess the reality is after speaking to many practitioners and practice managers, they've been quite frustrated because they're administrative guidelines, they're not clinically relevant guidelines, that what is being published, and even though there's been numerous attempts to try and get further clarification, that it is still very opaque and it's not very accountable and it's not even audit reliable. So therefore, a lot of practitioners, with having now surveying with the first survey, is this affecting their ability to provide care that's necessary to patients? So that's what the Medicare benefit schedule complexity survey is all about.
Excellent. So just to clarify to our listeners and to our participants for the survey, this is a national survey and it is not a particular survey about my particular case or anybody else's particular case or your own agenda. It is something that you have constructed for us with no bias, no sort of statistical sort of bias, and just to get a good picture of what the current situation is of the healthcare profession in regards to their potential for what we call a Medicare audit anxiety and how that may or may not give an effect to the public health issues. Is that sort of the summary of what we're trying to do?
Well, that's right. It came basically out of the 2011 Federal Senate inquiry when I first raised the issue of Medicare audit anxiety. And again,
so just confirming, what you're saying is that there's no bias or anything. It's not a particular case for this survey.
No, it isn't. It basically stems from the 2011 Senate inquiry that I was involved with, where I made the allegation that there was Medicare audit anxiety out there, and a number of the reports that I was receiving from practitioners, they were withholding services, they were consent, and and at the time it was said that the claim that was made was anecdotal. So this time around we thought, look, let's try and survey the nation and find out how providers feel and get a more accurate read on that, and then let the public then decide whether this is actually
an issue or not.
Yeah.
And the second survey, and I might just quickly have a chat about that. And basically, you know what? It would be funny if you can tell us the story behind why this whole Peveril case started between me and you. Do you mind just elaborating on that?
Yes. Well, I mean, at the time when you and I were talking, in particular about the right to private practice and whether the government could interfere, because there was a case I'd mentioned to you about Justice Gibbs, a High Court judge, who said, in the 1980 Commonwealth versus the Royal Australian College of General Practice case, that the Commonwealth could not interfere in the doctor-patient relationship. There was a specific reference to what is called a private medical practice. At the time, when you and I were talking, I was quite angry and frustrated with you and said, listen, you have got rights. to defend yourself.
That's right.
You've got a contract with government, and in that contract, the government basically has to treat you with due process. That's fair. And you rhetorically came back and said to me, no, that's not exactly what is the case, and then you quoted me the Peveril case.
That's right. And the Peveril case basically is a high court case that was, I think it was 1993, wasn't it, David, that it was ruled basically where the argument was that, he wanted, Peveril, who is a doctor, wanted to fight his right of the government trying to get some, I guess, money back from him. And he argued that money that he received from the government was what we call in legal terms acquired property, which basically means that it is your interest, it is your money. And the ruling basically was that actually people that receive money directly from the government, as in the form of bulk billing, that payment is actually classified as gratuitous, meaning that it isn't actually acquired property, it's not actually protected statutorily as something that's guaranteed as an income. It's more like a grateful payment that the government makes to you, but the government can actually have, to take that away from you at any time for the greater good. And also it explicitly states that the government can actually do so without any just terms, meaning that basically you're not afforded due process or natural justice as such as a clinician who bulk bills. So is that sort of your understanding as well, David?
Yeah, I guess in simple terms, it's a bit like, you're in Rondell Mall and, you've got a busker there and, you can donate as much as you want to the busker keeps paying, but it is a gratuitous payment. But at least when the busker gets the money, the busker gets to keep the money. And this particular case seems to highlight the fact that, if you donated the money, you can take it back any time, and doesn't seem to be any statutory limitation to that. And there's nothing that the busker can do about it, so the busker has no rights. So it is pretty much what doctors are doing by signing that bulk billing form, according to this case, is saying, I agree that I've provided my services for free, and I have no rights to sort of claim that money, even though I might have spent it on my nursing staff, on my rent, on my administration support staff, but I have no rights, to claim even half of that back for those costs that I've incurred. The Commonwealth can come in and take all of it back, which is quite extraordinary.
Yeah, and David, you know what? Me being the way that I am, I just try to simplify things in my head. I'm not, I don't try to get it complicated. So I thought about this and I thought, okay, who is the best person to sort of ask, to sort of clarify exactly what this means? And what I have done personally is I've asked the tax office for a private ruling in regards to this concept and how, if we are not, as bulk billing doctors, if we're not afforded natural justice in regards to this income, and if it's not actually guaranteed income, I guess, then why is it that I ever paid tax? Because in my simple mind, assessable income is something that's statutorily protected. So this question is with the tax office, but I just thought, for the reader's sake, can you elaborate on what exactly that means in a taxation sort of point of view?
Yes, at the time when we talked about the Peveril case, I said, well, look, if you haven't actually earned the income, what is this money that you've actually received, given that you've got no equivalent rights to it, for the want of a better word? So what was it? Is it like a loan?
That's right. When you told me this, that really scared me, and that's why I actually went to the private ruling, because, you're an accountant, right? And for me, when you told me this idea of, oh my God, maybe Anchita, you didn't even have assessable income, like, what does that mean, David? Like,
well, basically, the tax laws, and you have to appreciate the Tax Act, is probably the most litigated act in this country or even around the world. There are many court cases that are being had with it. It's the most tested act, more than the Health Insurance Act or any other. And their appropriate and due processes that are used are thoroughly tested. And therefore, this is quite a serious matter that, we have very long-standing laws about when income is actually derived. And if you aren't in legal possession of that income, that you have to pay it back any time, there is a real question that needs to be asked of the tax office. Well, have you actually earned any income based on what we've discussed here, particularly particular reference the Peveril case. So,
Right.
yeah, so that's why, I'm equally intrigued as you are, and probably your listeners.
All our listeners, yeah.
Question.
Well, you see, this is, and we're obviously, once I get some information from the tax office, we'll be informing all of you listeners out there. Now, in the interim, I did receive quite a lot of, we've had great success with the surveys, and we've had a lot of, and thank you to everybody that's participated. We've had a couple of specific sort of questions in regards to this Peveril case and accounts and money and so forth. So I might just go through that and see if we can both try to get some answers for our listeners. So one of the things that our listener was asking is, how come there is no education about this? Is this is the government conveniently avoiding education and dissemination of information? Now, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's more incompetence than something that's actually deliberate.
Yeah, I don't think it's deliberate, to be honest. Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah.
It's quite often you see the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. But what I would say is, if I was a practitioner and I was getting my Medicare provider number at day one, and somebody said to me, "Oh, by the way, we're going to pay you, but you might have to pay it back." I mean, think about it, if you're an employee, take the exception of job that you might have to pay back 5 years with your salary. Do you still want the job? I think you probably wouldn't engage in setting up and opening a practice on that basis alone. And if the bank actually knew, I don't think the bank would actually give you a loan. I think there is, this case has not been really looked upon with that kind of focus, because the question's just never been asked in this way, which is what we're doing today.
Look, carrying on to that, another listener, right, or survey participant said the following. So it says, it's alarming to be made aware of the above, and alarming to have one's livelihood at the mercy of an unregulated and opaque organization. But I don't know anyone who became a doctor only to earn money. Sorry about another interruption. So this question was, it's alarming to be made aware of above and alarming to have one's livelihood at the mercy of an unregulated and opaque organization. But I don't know anyone who became a doctor only to earn money. And even if billing privately was the only way to protect this, I and most doctors I know would still bulk bill patients who needed it to protect their right to affordable healthcare. Now, I really like that comment, because it does underpin the whole theory of we all doctors didn't really want to become doctors just to make money. I get that, but I would love to hear your opinion about this whole notion of, I don't know, it just seems like when doctors make money or when doctors earn, there's this weird taboo. But at the end of the day, I don't know about all of you listeners, but you can't really pay your bills or pay for your petrol to get to work if you don't get paid. So I do need to get paid. What do you think about this?
Yeah, look, I think it's this is quite a common conflict that practitioners have, where their altruism versus pragmatism gets in the way of a good thing. The reality is, you're a professional person. You have a legal duty of care. And by the way, I'm not a lawyer, but you do have a professional duty of care to your patient. And when you undertake that, it is quite a serious undertaking, and you must make sure you've got the appropriate resources behind you to discharge your duty of care. Doing something cheap or free doesn't mean it's good quality care.
That's right.
What you need to do is, when you undertake that responsibility, you need to make sure you've got food on the table and you're eating well and properly. That is just good clinical practice, and as well as your staff. And therefore, as much as you'd like to do everything for free, and we'd all love to do things for free, it's just not practical, because you've got practical costs, day-to-day costs, whether it's meeting your practice overheads or, making sure you can afford a decent school for your kids. I mean, you've worked hard. I'm not saying it is important to remember you're a professional first, and if you want to donate your time and your money that you make, if you have any surplus cash, then that's a separate issue, and that should be done outside the practice, but not within the practice from a day-to-day level, because it is really important you fulfill your public and legal duty of care to your patient first.
That's right. And look, I really want to underpin these. I'm going to read out 3 little questions that sort of sums up a few issues. And I want this to be really answered so that our listeners understand where we all stand. So first question was, vast majority of GPs are independent contractors. A GP in this situation is self-employed, not employed by the government. Therefore, no one owes them guaranteed income. Now, that's not really true. So, correct me if I'm wrong, David, but I guess actually, you know what, can you elaborate on what this guaranteed income and statutorily enforceable income actually means for our audience? Because it seems like they're a bit confused about that.